Welcome to the Ruppiverse. Debra Jo Rupp is a nexus being. Rupp, 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 Rupp!
The all-powerful Debra Jo Rupp was on an episode of Kate and Allie in 1987.
Basically, this episode was their catering company. They were basically doing DoorDash. Like they were going.
Oh yeah, Debra Jo Rupp brought this to us. That's all I'm saying. So go ahead.
Nothing against the innovators of DoorDash. Just
So
saying you're
basically,
not. It's
You're no Debra
they
Jo.
no
were
one's
doing-
original.
They were going Christmas shopping for their catering clients. They would literally go
In this
buy
episode.
In this episode.
Yeah.
So what they was actually going to the toy store, to the department stores, picking up their stuff and wrapping it for their catering clients. So basically, they was using their money, but the clients were going to pay them back. But they still had to use their cards. Instead of having a Christmas at home, they decided that they would save their money and then also make money by doing this shopping for these people. And they was going to take a ski trip to Vermont.
I thought that we all agreed that it would be more fun to go on a family ski trip to Vermont than to buy a bunch of things that we can't afford just because some retailer is yelling, "'Tis the season to spend like maniacs." We did.
Instead of, as Kate put it, instead of getting up in the morning, opening up presents, and being happy for a brief moment, when they can go away, have a ski trip, and be happy basically for the entire weekend. So the whole family agreed to it. And then Chip, he was kind of at one point they was wrapped, they had little Chip putting the bike together. So he goes, "Have you seen my wrench?" And that's when Jenny was like, "Oh, here you go. I actually wrapped it up." He was like, "Oh, cool. At least I'll get a chance to open some present this year." And that's when Kate reiterates, "All right, guys, we all decided we were going skiing this year." So she ends up having to run out to go grab some last minute toys. She goes in, and our first interaction with Debra Jo Rupp, she walks up to Debra Jo Rupp.
"You must have a lot of kids."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I need a gun." Debra Jo Rupp calmly responds, "That bad, huh?"
Because it's Christmas time and everyone's
Right.
stressed in the holidays. Yeah.
Right. So then, but she's like, "I need an M16 double action water pistol." She's like, "Oh, very popular toy. It's right over there." Kate goes over and she looking at her list. She sees the gun. She grabs it. When she grabs it at the same time, a little boy grabs the gun. And this was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So the little boy says, "Let go of my gun." She's like, "Come on, kid. I need this. Come on, give it." The kid swindles her. And he's like, "I'll let it go if you give me $1." I'm like, $1? I'm like, whoa. And I got, this was 1986. So, that kid probably, you could go to the toy store and, G.I. Joe figures and things like that. They were only $2, $3.
Yeah.
It was only $2, $3.
Like $3.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
So she gets the gun, she goes over, and then that's when she runs into Ricky Lynn Reynolds for the first time. And she was like, "I need this wrap." She looks at it, like, "Oh, this goes in a medium box." She's like, "Okay, cool." She goes back to looking at her list. And it's weird to me because as she's looking at her list, it's one of those things in your mind. You just imagine this was nowadays. If you're sitting at the counter, the courtesy counter, waiting to get your packages wrapped, you're not looking at your list. You're looking down at your phone because you're just waiting for this person to wrap your package.
Yeah. Now we don't have phones.
Right.
You can't look at phones.
So I'm seeing, it's one of those things when watching something like this, it's kind of cool to think about the now versus then.
Yeah.
But then, so the lady, they go back and forth. She's like, "Oh, I'm out of medium boxes." She's like, "Well, put it in the large." She's like, "No, I'll get in trouble. I put it in the large." She's like, can you just come on?" She's like, "No, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "I'll get in trouble." She's like, "Medium boxes, they'll be back in 2 hours." She's like, "I don't have 2 hours. Put it in the large." She's like, "Okay, I'll pay you for the medium box." She's like, "I can't. This is the courtesy. I can't take your money. This is the courtesy counter." Boom. She ends up leaving, goes home. They sit there, they finish.
Wait, so that
rapping.
was Debra Jo Rupp that said she couldn't do that?
That was Vicky Lynn Reynolds.
Oh, that was okay. The other one,
Smokey's mom from Friday.
Right.
So she goes home and she's sitting there talking. They get all excited, and this is the part to me that I didn't notice the first time I watched it. So they like, "Oh, cool, let's go pick up our skis." So they got, they live on a basement floor, and it's one of those things where you walk. It's in Greenwich Village is one of those brownstones where someone walking by on the sidewalk, sort of like Cheers. If
Yeah.
they're walking by on the sidewalk, they can see into your house.
Yeah, right.
If you don't have the right kind of curtains.
Guard.
So they have all these awesome packages stacked up and everything. They're going to get their skis. They go to walk. Everyone's grabbing their coats. They go walk out the door. Chip goes to the door and physically turns the latch on the door.
Yeah.
And he shuts the door. And next thing you know, it comes a few minutes later, you hear them all talking, yada, yada, yada. You can see the door is slightly open. They come down. Everything's gone. Now they've been robbed. They call the cops.
Robbed.
The cops, he's sitting very sympathetic. She's like, oh, cool. Like, you think we'll get the stuff back today? You're like, well, no, probably not. So then she ends up having to go back to the store.
Okay.
And she's buying all of this stuff. She's going back and forth, buying all this stuff. She comes back, and then she, Debra Jo Steady's sitting there doing the old school. I used to do this when I worked at Woolworths.
Yeah.
You have like the credit card machine. You put the credit card in the thing. You put the carbon copy. You align it.
Yeah.
Slide it across. Take it out. So she kept doing that. Then
Makes a copy of the actual card.
Right.
That's how they used to do it.
Yeah. She tried to run it again. Card wouldn't go through because she maxed the card out. Then that's where we get all of the customers that were in line that I figured out. They were on All My Children with Debra Jo Rupp. The first customer, his real name is Philip Emilio, and he played Scott Chandler from 87 to 98 on All My Children.
Oh.
And then the third customer, her name is Karen Shalo or whatever. She played Teresa on All My Children in 1993.
Okay.
And then Debra Jo Rupp played Victoria on All My Children. So by that, I'm like, right then and there, those two, they're in the Debra Jo Ruppiverse.
First TV job was on All My Children.
Oh my God.
Susan Lucci was having a baby. I was her roommate in Hollywood, and we were topless dancers.
And also, I kind of feel like the two dudes had Devastators in their hand. It looked like Devastator from the grainy, blurry copy that I saw. It looked like Devastator.
Okay, so for the listeners who don't know, what's Devastator?
Devastator is Constructicon Transformers who combined to form Devastator. 1986, Transformers the movie. Watch it.
Constructicons unite!
So there were Transformers that were all different construction vehicles. There was like a cement mixer and a bulldozer or whatever, and all, was it 5 of them combined and make one big robot?
It was 6, wasn't it?
Maybe 6. I don't know. But they were like green and purple, and they were the coolest. They were kind of the coolest shit at the time.
Truck,
Yeah, they formed Devastator. Okay. And so Art, watching this, was nostalgic for his childhood because he saw Devastator. He thinks was Devastator in their hands. So these are the kind of fun sidetrack jaunts that I'm glad we're taking because of Debra Jo Rupp.
Debra Jo Rupp is a badass. Rupp.